hell out of this alive. Another reason for you to keep Max Huber away from her. You don't need insurance. I said I'd do it. But you're like me, a driven man. She's had to contend with me all her life. I don't want to leave her to face another struggle alone. Tell her that I kept my promise. This time, I'm giving her a choice. He coughed, and a tiny bit of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. And I have one final job to do. I have to make sure that Huber thinks he has plenty of time for his next move. That means getting you the hell out of Dodge before he finds out that you're on your way to get her. So on your way, Brandon. I don't take orders from you, Venable. No, but you'll take this one. Rachel's your only way to score against Huber now. You've fought too long to give up your shot at him. I don't flatter myself you're doing this for me. You're doing it for pure revenge. You're good at that, Brandon. How much time do you have left? 7 minutes. Tell me how you'll get out of here. I can't use the helicopter. They're almost on top of us. They'd know that I'd been here. I'll hide the copter in the woods, and Nate and I will walk out, then call for assist when it's safe. And then you'll go for Rachel? Venable was holding his eyes. Promise me there won't be much time. He'll know where she is by now. I'll go for her. He looked down at him. She's not my choice, but I'll use her to get what we both want. You shouldn't have gotten yourself shot, Venable. I realize it was a major disruption of your plans. His voice was fading. But you won't have a plan unless you get yourself out of here. Forget that bullshit about not leaving a man behind. I always told you that the army brainwashed you. That's why I told Nate not to tell you I'd bought it. Yet I don't think you would have left me behind. Brandon was already heading for the door. But I'll get out, and I'll get Huber. He looked back over his shoulder. He didn't want to leave him, damn it. At one time or another, Venable had been both ally and enemy to him, but he shouldn't have to die alone. His eyes were closed, and Brandon didn't know if Venable was still alive to hear him. I've no use for the CIA. They've tended to get in my way. But you were the best and most honest operative I ever ran across, Venable. It's been a privilege. How generous. I feel honored that... His head slumped sideways. Brandon could no longer hear his breath. Dead. Brandon could feel the fury tear through him as he shut the door and started at a run toward the hills. He hadn't known Venable that well, but this time they'd been on the same side, fighting the same battle for different reasons. And what he'd known, he'd liked and appreciated as much as he'd allowed himself. They were both obsessed, and obsession permitted little else to enter into a relationship. Venable's death only added to the score Brandon had to settle with Max Huber. And Venable had been his best key to getting Huber, he thought with frustration. He had been so close. But Venable had given him another key, and her name was Rachel Venable. Forget about what might have been, and go after the possible. He took out his phone and dialed Nate. Venable's dead. You should have told me he'd been shot. He told me not to do it. He said if I did, you'd go after him. He was dying, Brandon. I could see it. But you went anyway. I thought you would. So did he. Because Venable had wanted one last assurance that Brandon would do what he wanted. I'm on my way back. Start preparing the helicopter. We're going to...